Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of X Vlog Live, and this is going to be the Gears of War special edition episode, and we have two of the biggest Gears heads that you could possibly have on at any one place on any one podcast right here. But before we get to them, I gotta welcome in my brother from another. C Money, what's going on? My co-host with the co-most. What's going on, dude? How's everything at home? And yeah, I know. I think you kind of like Gears of War as well.
I do. I mean, I like Gears. I mean, I love most of the big Xbox games. Halo's my
is your main. Yeah, I get it.
But when Gear comes out, it's time to play some Gears, man. I'm down. I'm in. But yeah, man, we're doing good. I mean, right now, fun times because for whatever reason, the internet decided that it doesn't want to work. There's an outage in my area, so
great.
We're rocking the hot spot right now. We'll see how this goes, but I can tell you right now, man, life is real crazy without internet. You know what I'm saying? Like everything goes
everything
to
you
shit
do
real quick.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
man.
crazy.
Yeah.
But
well, I had that happen the other day. It's out of nowhere. They're working in the street, and they did something to the line, and the internet just decided to slop down to like 2 frames per second. It was awful, but happy to have you here, brother. Super appreciate you joining us. We're going to get into Gears of War Reloaded, whether or not Gears of War 2 and 3 Reloaded are on the way. We have some thoughts, some theories. We're going to get into one of the big questions we're going to be asking here is the release onto PlayStation 5 a good thing or a bad thing for the franchise? So we're going to get into that. And again, I know it's going to be emotion driven by a lot of people in the chat that are, that are Xbox mains, and that's their place to play. And they kind of, I've even seen people say they feel betrayed by Xbox by doing this. And folks, this is the reality. We're going to get into all of that. But Shadows, my brother, now, folks, if you don't know who he is, his YouTube channel is closing in on 100K. That's right, 100,000 subscribers. He has been for the last 12 years the place to get any and all Gears of War content. Shadows, welcome back, brother. Nice to see you.
Hey, I appreciate the invite, man. We are here to talk about the Gears of War gas, bro. We back finally. 6 years of playing Gears 5, man, and we just literally get a random ass Gears of War game announcement on a Monday. And it's funny that you literally talk about the no internet, because I have a little, I don't know if I want to get into it now, but I have a little story about Monday. And because I was actually 5 hours late.
Tell your story.
5 hours late.
This is pretty interesting. Yeah.
So Mondays are typically my day off with my wife. 1 day a week I dedicate to her. So I do my little 2-hour streams on Monday just to keep the daily stream going. I've been live every day on Twitch, streaming Gears 5 since January 1st this year. We're on the daily 5-month streak.
Wow.
I stream every day. We've got the YouTube going as well. But yeah, Mondays are for the missus, right? So, Monday I got the whole day planned out. We go watch Marvel Thunderbolts in the cinema, and that's at 5 p.m. UK. We walk into the cinema at 10:02. I put my phone on mute. It's almost on low battery. It dies. It goes out of charge midway through the film. So I am cut off from the internet. And the film starts when Gears of War Reloaded gets announced. So I've literally been grinding my life off doing Gears of War content forever. And I've literally gone in to watch Thunderbolts with no phone, no internet, just off the grid. And again, the film finishes, 2 hours of that. Amazing. Highly recommend it if you're a big MCU fan. Amazing. But, go out, have some food with the missus, couple drinks. We get back about 10 p.m. It has now been 5 hours since Gears of War Reloaded has been announced, and I've not said a single word. Twitter's popping. YouTube comments are popping. I'm getting rinsed by like SAS people that I used to play with back in the day talking about Gears of War, and I'm not there. And it's just been, I'm getting rinsed everywhere. Like, where are you? And so, yeah, that's why if you go watch my reaction to, obviously, the Gears of War E-Day, Gears of War Reloaded announcement, I was literally getting ready for bed as well. I put my phone on charge, and then luckily my missus just went on her phone to check her for alarm, and it literally had a like phone notification, and it said new Gears of War announcement, IGN. She read that out, and I screamed, "What?" And then I went straight to the room, put the PC on, click record, and if you want to watch my reaction, that's the setup basically. And if you want,
man, that's great.
Wow.
I was off the grid, bro. I can't believe it, man. 5 hours late, but we here. We made it. Yeah.
That's real
well.
wild.
We're happy to have you here, brother. And what a great story. Thanks so much for sharing that, because again, that's how life works, right? Like you are the Mr. Gears of War.
And I was 5 hours late, yeah.
And you're 5 hours late.
That's right. You were supposed to be with the missus.
Here,
that's what happens. That's what it is.
Yeah,
you're supposed to.
You know what? It was
you're
for a
supposed
good
to follow
reason.
through with your day.
She did say
with the missus.
Yeah.
I guess she goes, I guess that's the end of date night. I'm like, yeah. It's Gears of War time, baby. It's Gears of War time, baby.
All right. Well, listen, brother, thank you so much for joining
wild.
us. And we have our resident Crispy Bomb, who is just as big a fan and has a lot of thoughts and theories as to exactly why Gears going to PlayStation 5 is a big deal for the franchise. But hey, Crispy, welcome back, brother. Nice to have you.
Crispy.
Oh, it's great to be here. I mean, for the love of God, I mean, Shadows is here. Like, he is the biggest Gears fan. He is an encyclopedia of Gears of War. And, I always watch your content. It's always great to chop it up with you. And, I think we are on the same page. I don't know if you guys are, but that's okay. I mean, we can understand and disagree and have a good conversation. And I think that's what's best on your channel, Boom.
Well, I mean, listen, we try to keep it positive. When smoke has to be given, we do it righteously, as you should. But I want to open up. I'm going to go right to C Money on this. C Money, I want to talk about the announcement itself, because you and I, along with, on your panels, on my panels, I've talked with Crispy numerous times. I haven't had an opportunity to speak with Shadows in a minute, but we have been hearing since last year, and actually this goes all the way back to Special Nick. So give that poor man the shout out, because he originally announced that this was happening. And of course, over the years, it took a long time to get to the announcement. He was panned by many people in this community, and he was right. Special Nick does have connections, and really good ones for that matter. And it took a long time for this particular situation to materialize, but here we are. Now, ultimately, it's not the Marcus Phoenix collection as it was thought to be, but that's because they released one, because it includes multiplayer. So you were getting all of the DLC, you were getting all the multiplayer at 120 frames, you were getting the single player running at a locked 60 frames. It's going to look gorgeous. It's going to be the best version of Gears of War 1. And this announcement comes out of nowhere. Like literally on a Monday morning, it just drops. Boom.
5 hours late. 5 hours late.
And you know what? It's one of those situations where, we went from Xbox has no games to the point where literally Xbox has so many games, they have to do this. Like, it can't all be at June. It can't all be at the developer direct that they have every, January of every year, the last couple of years. So on a manic Monday, boom, Gears of War Reloaded drops. And, I want to get your thoughts on it before we get into the actual announcement for PlayStation, because I think a lot of people, even though we knew this was happening, some people in this community are acting a little bit brand new. Like, they're clutching their pearls because this game is going over there. And I get it for the purists, but this is what's happening. Don't act brand new. So let's get your thoughts on the announcement, C Money.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you kind of nailed it, right? We've been speaking so long about the idea of this game. It's kind of been like an open secret that people knew that this was happening. And I mean, as far as like him, Special Nick knowing this, I do think there's 3 of them being made. I do. I think they just I think they just separated them, especially with like the whole PlayStation thing and it going elsewhere. It's kind of like they never had them, so why give it to them in one shot? You know what I'm saying? Milk it one at a time. They'll buy. They'll be good. I mean, obviously we didn't get like a trailer for it, right? It just dropped with news, and we got screenshots.
Yeah,
right?
we got 4K screenshots is what we got.
So, I mean, as far as like just straight up the announcement, it was exciting for it to be finally confirmed that this was happening. I wish that there was a dope trailer to go with it. That would have been really good. And I think that would have been more helpful because, I mean, the words that they say make it sound like it's a substantial, remaster. But like the pictures that they show, it looks better for sure, but it's not like Oblivion remastered. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. It's not like a easy leap. Now maybe that's unfair because we're probably looking at Ultimate Edition of Gears 1 versus what it looked like when it actually first launched. 20 years ago or whatever, 19 years ago. But I kind of was thinking or hoping that it was going to be more in line with like a, not quite E-Day, but not quite Gears 5. You know what I'm saying? Like I thought it was going to be probably more of a substantial, like, hey, look at what this is. Again, not that it's stopping me. It does look better, and I am excited to, play through it again. It's one of the first games that, me and the missus beat the whole game co-op. So, this is going to be fun to kind of relive that 19 years ago. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's gonna be fun to do that. So I'm pumped. I'm also glad that there's gonna be a whole new generation of people who are gonna be able to experience where it all started. You know what I'm saying? Like the first one, the main story that kind of honestly was like the one of the most impactful ones. And then obviously, I got that same thing right in my cupboard too, bro. Oh man, that was a beautiful case.
20 years, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, it's good. And then I hope that we're gonna see the other ones, relatively quickly. I don't necessarily want to go years before we see the part 2, because it's clear they didn't do like a complete overhaul where it would take them that much longer, right? Like I feel like once they got one into the new version that they're doing, I feel like it should be pretty easy to do the rest. So, maybe every year we get another one, or every 6 months or so, but probably closer to like maybe next year we'll get the next one. Who knows? But as far as just the announcement is concerned, I'm glad it happened. It was nice to get that confirmation. I'm pumped that we got more Gears. I'm excited to go through it again. It's going to play and look better than it ever has, which is fantastic. Just wish we got a trailer to go with it, because that might have made it look better than just the screenshots did. And that's it, man. I kind of wish it would look more like, Gears 5 plus, you know what I'm saying? Versus, something that just kind of looks better.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I agree with you. I think that a trailer would have been dope. I don't know if that trailer is going to come in June, right along, because there's supposed to be some big announcements, and I would imagine that Gears E-Day is going to have one, and of course, getting a chance to see this thing running would be what everyone is looking for. I totally get that.
I also feel like that would be such a waste to do it at June Showcase, because if you're going to do it at June Showcase, it's not coming out till August. Like, why not just wait for the moment where you drop the trailer and we're like, oh my god, what's this? And then it turns out to be Reloaded, right? Like, if you're gonna wait to June, I feel like that'd be dumb. I feel like you got to do it either before or after. Don't put this at June Showcase, because then it's kind of like, why'd you even do it, right? But when you do think about it, you can kind of see maybe the fact that it's going to PlayStation. They wanted to kind of get that out the way so that when they do drop the trailer, that talk is kind of died down, and we've moved past the bullshit. So that's a possibility as well. So who knows?
I mean, listen. Again, for me personally, as a diehard fan, for a lot of personal reasons, like I said the other day, like why it means so much to me is because of I played this game with my brother from start to finish. And we did it. We used to do it annually. Like it wasn't, like we just stopped after we beat it. We'd always return to this and play because of how impactful the game was for us during the Xbox 360. And of course, that was at the height of playing online. Like I know it started on the Xbox, the OG Xbox, but it really found its footing and its purpose during the Xbox 360. And when this game came out in 2006, I mean, it was the greatest thing we've ever seen in gaming. You got to remember, we're coming off of the PS1, we're coming off of the Dreamcast, we're coming off the GameCube, and then of course this comes out, and it's like, whoa, like, are you kidding me? So to get this thing remade, and again, it's technically going to be remade another time. I think that this is going to be the best running, best looking version of it. And again, I do agree with you. They probably should have had a trailer. I think that would have been much better for the announcement. I mean, again, my hype is through the roof, obviously, but I do think that they should have had a trailer. So I do agree with you there. I do want to bring Shadows in. I want to get your thoughts and your excitement for this because we have not had a new Gears of War since the DLC came out. And even though that's a standalone and it was absolutely amazing, we haven't had a standard Gears release in a very long time.
Yeah.
And obviously last year's announcement of Gears of War E-Day brought the house down, and everyone is excited because we're going to finally get a chance to actually see E-Day happen. Like we're going to be a part of it as characters, and it's going to be amazing. And that is obviously not coming this year. That is coming next year on the 20th anniversary of Gears of War. But before we get into the ramifications of it going to PlayStation and whether or not this is going to help the franchise grow, because I know everyone on the panel has some thoughts and theories as to that, I do want to get your excitement and your thoughts regarding the excitement of the announcement, because even though we kind of felt and heard this was happening, it had never been confirmed, and well, here it is.
Yeah, so I would say, just to obviously give a lot of context, just to introduce myself, if you don't know me, my name is Lee. I've been playing Gears of War since literally day one, 2006 Emergence Day, OG, all 19 years. I've been creating Gears of War content for 12 years straight. I absolutely love this franchise. It's my life and everything. And from especially someone obviously in the Gears of War community, deep Gears of War fan through and through, this is the best announcement probably since Microsoft announced that they acquired the Gears of War franchise in 2014. Yeah, this is probably by far, without a doubt, the biggest moment in Gears of War as a franchise since Gears of War 3 release back in 2011. Obviously, the thing with Gears of War as well, you've got to think about, like you say, it has been 6 years since Gears 5, but it's been 14 years since a obviously new Gears of War entry with Marcus Phoenix and Dominic Santiago as the main characters. Obviously, we got Gears of War E-Day announced last year. That brought the hype back definitely with what feels like a return to form of glory, with obviously a pause on Gear 6 and the next new mainline game, seeing it obviously go back to E-Day, the Locust War, like young Marcus and Dom, basically taking like all of the big pluses of what obviously made the original trilogy so successful and seeing obviously if like, okay, can this work today? Can this work in the modern age? And then to even just take it a step further and come back and be like, yo, we're doing Gears of War 1 again. And this is obviously our doorway into, the approach that Microsoft, Xbox, and what seems like gaming is potentially heading into the future. But yeah, again, this is by far for Gears fans, like the beacon of hope that we've been literally waiting on. Chris B spoke about it a little bit in the show before, but currently to obviously try and give you an insight into Gears right now, obviously we've been playing Gears 5 for 6 years. The situation that happened with that game was such a roller coaster of up and down emotions for the Gears of War community. A lot of people left, a lot of people felt really sour from just the direction Gears 5 took, because it came out at launch. The game was completely busted. Multiplayer didn't actually work in Europe for 2 weeks.
Wow.
And obviously the first 3 operations were really lackluster. The game had no content at launch. It only had one legacy character in Marcus Phoenix. had no locusts. You know, there was hardly anything in the game. Horde
And
mode was
we
completely
hated
ruined.
the tour of duty, right?
Yeah, pretty much
Hated
everything
the
and
tour of
everything
duty.
about Gears 5 at launch that may have sounded good on paper, that was just, you know, unfortunately either executed wrongly or just the Gears fans didn't like it. Or it was just basically a step backwards from Gears of War 4. Like the perfect example was something as simple as just earnable content in the game. In Gears of War 4, they had a credit system with the gear packs. Okay, the gear packs were controversial, you know, RNG loot boxes, but the credit system that they added was an opportunity to obviously earn a currency in game that you could then go and get all of the content in game for free by simply obviously just playing the game, exchanging your time for play, and obviously building up your credit system, and then obviously being able to buy all the characters, the skins, and all that stuff. When obviously Gears 5 came out, they decided, okay, let's actually walk away from that. Instead of having obviously a repeat with the same currency system, they like completely separated the content to be like some of it's earnable, some of it's like FOMO, like stuck in a store that you have to pay only, you can't earn it. And then they had like the Tour of Duty, which was like a sort of failed attempt of like a battle pass thing that you basically, if you didn't play the season, you missed it forever. And so there was a lot of like up and downs throughout the beginning of Gears 5. And then obviously within a few months, Rod Ferguson comes out and is like, yo, I'm leaving. And it's like, what? We just got Gears 5. What about you leaving? So the head of studio obviously leaves the coalition in early 2020. And then we're obviously thinking as Gears of War fans, like, what is going on? Like, we just got Gears 5. First 3 operations weren't that great. And then obviously the head of the studio is leaving. Like, this is not looking good, you know? And then the rest of Gears 5 was basically just to try and obviously get to the point where to get it playable. But they obviously decided in early 2020 when they got access to Unreal Engine 5. And this is obviously the same time when they obviously decided to go in a direction with Gears of War E-Day and what they're doing right now. It's just that obviously, unfortunately, for the Gears of War community and Gears fans that obviously love playing Gears daily, regularly, like all the time, Gears 5 kind of just got not that great reception with the community. And then pretty much, obviously, Gears 5 came out in 2019. We only had 2 years of support and the game was dropped. The game was dropped, no content, no updates, no new stuff, you know, no esports, like everything was just basically dropped. So it's like Gears fans, we just kind of felt like we're just dead in the water, right? Like, what's going on? And so obviously we've just been waiting 6 years, but now obviously with Gears of War E-Day announced, Gears of War Reloaded announced, it all makes sense to, you know, what they've obviously been doing, but it was just a little bit hard for Gears fans and the Gears community to obviously go through that. But I think with obviously the Gears of War Reloaded announcement, you're talking about why would they do it on a random Monday? I don't know. But, you know, C-Money's also brought up the facts about like the trailer and that. And if we go over obviously the past of the Gears of War series, since Gears of War 3, there has always been a multiplayer beta. Gears of War 3 had one, Gears of War Judgment had one, Gears of War Ultimate Edition had one. And if you know, you want to talk about Gears of War Ultimate Edition, obviously how it like compares to Gears of War Reloaded. When they announced Gears of War Ultimate Edition 10 years ago at the Xbox show in 2015, it was all right, we're going to announce Gears of War Ultimate Edition, and then we're also announcing a public multiplayer beta that you can go play live today. And it launched, shadow dropped in that Xbox show. Wow. So you're asking, like, why have they also came out with a random announcement now? And they've also obviously confirmed that the Xbox Game Showcase next month is digital only. Please stay at home. You know, what if they're obviously setting themselves up for, right, let's get the announcement out for Reloaded to obviously start, you know, getting a little bit of hype going. Like, we can't obviously talk about Gears of War E-Day before the showcase, but we've got this other Gears of War thing obviously happening first. Get that out there. Get you know, Gears fans excited. Get Xbox fans excited. Get obviously all gamers now excited for Gears of War. We'll get into that. And maybe potentially for the Xbox showcase, you're asking what they're going to do and, you know, where's the trailer? Like, what if obviously there's a Gears of War Reloaded trailer to obviously announce that we are also shadow dropping a Gears of War Reloaded multiplayer beta to obviously play test and, you know, stress test all the different platforms, all the different servers, just to make sure everything runs smoothly. Because again, like I said, we've had Gears of War beta since 2011. Why would that change? Especially obviously with now with, you know, 3 different platforms potentially going at it on Gridlock. Nash's coming out. So the Gears fan get me a little bit excited. Yeah, so, you know, try and obviously answer C-Money's question about where's the trailer. I think that potentially could happen. And then also just to talk about Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3 Reloaded, and obviously all of the Gears of War collection rumors as that happened. I think Special Nick was the first person ever to basically say, I think in January 2022, I think it was the first time ever that obviously there was going to be another potentially Microsoft collection, which didn't obviously led to being potentially a Gears of War collection. That was only shortly after, obviously, Gears 5 content support ended. So that's obviously been something quite big in the Gears of War community, and everybody's been talking about for a long time. And I've always been under the impression that I never believed the Gears of War collection to ever exist, because if you were going to do it right, you need to have campaign, multiplayer, and obviously, if it is the right Gears of War game, horde mode. Like, there's no way you can release a Gears of War game and it's campaign only, right? And it's no multiplayer. Like, it would just been absolutely bad news, especially for the Gears of War community. Like I said, we've been going through the motions of Gears 5. Like when's this new Gears of War? Like, I need something new, please, man, please. And then obviously, if we got a Gears of War Reloaded announcement, and then they came out, it was like, yo, it's campaign only. The Gears of War community would just flip the table, man, flipping all the tables. So, you know, I think, again, this is definitely by far the best situation for if you are a Gears of War fan. And I know Xbox like gamers definitely have a little bit of a different maybe mindset, especially when it obviously comes to like exclusives and stuff like that. But I think in the long run, especially for the importance of the Gears of War IP, Crispy Bomb, you know, brought it up a little bit. Obviously, because I'm from the UK, like I'm trying to play Gears 5 now. I maybe find one match per hour, but I have like American friends that, you know, still have access to most of the game modes, and they can play at pretty much any time of the day. And like I can search the same game mode as them at the same time, and they get lobbies and I won't, simply because I'm over here in the UK and Europe. So like for the Gears of War franchise over on this side of the world, it's a real struggle for us, especially for us that are like super passionate about Gears of War, and we just sit there trying to get games, and there's absolutely nothing to play because obviously the way that like dedicated servers work, and it's all North America and obviously South America, Latin America, where Mexico and that is like, that's where like 90% of the Gears of War population is. So like, if you're a passionate Gears of War fan from UK, Europe, Asia, Australia, like the Australians haven't been able to play Gears of War for, I don't know, like 5 years. They have to like, I've got quite a few Australian like dedicated Gears of War fans that obviously use my live streams to know when I'm playing so that I can invite them just so they can get lobbies. You know, they're on like 500 ping, and it's like they're playing on Mars with Elon in 1962. Like, you know, they ain't got
I love that.
They're like shooting like this, you know, like walking into walls, but they're still here trying to play. And that's what, you know, the passion that Gears of War fans have, that even if we're lagging at like 500 ping in Australia, they're still trying to get their Gears of War in, man. So hopefully, obviously, with everything that's going on with Gears of War right now, like this is the re-emergence. And I did tweet out a lot of my, you know, thoughts on Twitter. And if realistically, you obviously look at the situation right now with them, obviously not doing a Gears of War collection with the free games, and instead they're just doing Gears of War 1 as Reloaded, then yeah, as you know, you guys already said that, I would obviously assume they would be then doing Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3 as well. I've speculated, you know, it's interesting they don't obviously mention Unreal Engine or like any of the game engine in the Xbox One announcement for Gears of War Reloaded. To me, that maybe tells me that obviously this game is not in UE5, even though they announced obviously back in, I think it was 2021, like, oh, we're moving on to obviously Unreal Engine 5 development. To me, because obviously this is Gears of War Ultimate Edition, technically maybe remastered, and that game was made in Unreal Engine 3. So I actually do think that Gears of War Reloaded is probably just an Unreal Engine 3 game that is maybe had some sort of modern gaming technology, you know, obviously added to it with the modern tech available through Unreal Engine. Because if you look at obviously the comparison screenshots, the best one to look at is an Embry Square with the water. If you look at obviously the original Xbox 360 Gears of War 2006 version, you can't really see the Ultimate Edition because it's a bit covered, but you can sort of see the water in the Gears of War Reloaded. Like that's basically where all of the obviously enhancements are. So like realistically, if you were to play Gears of War Ultimate Edition on PC right now, you are almost pretty much playing Gears of War Reloaded already. It's just that obviously it's more on the console side and the console push for this Gears of War Reloaded, and obviously fixing the issues of Gears of War Ultimate Edition when it came out on Xbox Pass, because this was before like the current new Xbox with Game Pass and, you know, cross-play, cross-buy, and all the other stuff that comes with Xbox today. Gears of War Ultimate Edition in 2015 and then 2016 was like separate releases. The Xbox community and the PC community were separated. They couldn't play, you know, with each other. And obviously the PC version just instantly died, you know? So the fact that we're going to be able to get potentially the Gears of War Ultimate Edition that we had 10 years ago, but like the new version of like what Xbox does today is just the best thing ever. And obviously looking at what we have already announced, we've got 2 Gears of War games. We've got 2 Netflix projects. if they potentially do Gears of War 2 Reloaded and Gears of War 3 Reloaded, I would imagine for their 20-year anniversaries retrospectively, for the next 6 years, you are looking at potentially like 6 different Gears of War like releases for the IP. If you wanted to just put it in a little order of obviously what's already announced and what could be coming, Gears of War Reloaded obviously confirmed for 2025. Gears of War E-Day obviously got announced last year. We do have the 20th anniversary in November next year. To me, that would obviously be Gears of War E-Day's launch. So we could potentially have Reloaded in 25, E-Day in 26. Follow that up with the Gears of War Netflix live action movie ready to go in 2027. You then have the 20th anniversary of Gears of War 2 in 2028. Maybe that's when you drop a Gears of War 2 Reloaded. You then follow that up with the second Netflix project already announced, the Gears of War Netflix animated series in 2029. And then obviously there's about a 2-year gap there between then dropping the Gears of War 3 Reloaded for its 20-year anniversary from 2011 to obviously 2031. I also did mention as well, the success of Gears 5 Highbusters and obviously showing that we don't necessarily need, obviously, a brand new Gears of War game release every single time to get even more new like story narratives. And I haven't spoken about this right now, but I'll drop a little bit of an exclusive like idea that I have. Gears of War E-Day, in my opinion, could serve as like a Gears of War gaming platform to then have further campaign DLCs released, potentially yearly. So obviously tell, different sides of the Emergence Day story from obviously different perspectives of other characters all around the world. Because obviously Emergence Day is a global phenomenon. Like this is an event that obviously takes place over the whole planet. So obviously every single character that is alive on E-Day, whether they are human or even Locust, they all have a story to tell. So like, we could even see a Ram Shadow like, if you've ever read the Gears of War Rise of Ram comics, it actually depicts the first battle of Emergence Day, which is General Ram, Cater Scourge, Farron Guards, and a bunch of Locusts invading one of the COG's largest sort of like military bases in Janamon. And this military base is where a lot of the King Raven helicopters, a lot of the Centaur tanks, a lot of the like heavy duty military technology the COG like hold. This is sort of like their little secret military base, right? And the Locusts just come up through the middle and absolutely decimate. And Ram and Scourge have a great time killing all the COG. And unfortunately, there's a Carmine in there, and what happens to Carmines. But we could potentially get that like same story from the comics, but obviously like transferred into a playable campaign DLC where now you're playing Gears of War, co-op. Your General Ram and your buddy Scourge, right? And you're just messing up COG troops left and right. And they could obviously make like a gory, super bloody, but like Brothers to the End style, flipped on its side, Locust perspective campaign story. And again, there's so much potential in the Gears of War universe. You've got Garen Paddock, if you know him from Gears of War Judgment and Gears Fire, the UIR, the guy that messes with a bed a little bit. He was located in his country of Groznia, which is a UIR territory that we've never seen before. And they were actually the first target by Zamil Khan, who is the villain in Gears of War Judgment, the one that rides the like Shibboleth. Mm-hmm. He was designated to go obviously take out the entirety of the UIR because they were the faction that obviously lost to the COG in the Pendulum Wars. And so he was obviously targeted with destroying that civilization. And the Gears of War story just goes deep, man. Like that little civilization was a 400,000 kingdom in the Silver Age. We're talking like in the age of Armageddon, millions of years before the story events of Gears of War today. And by Emergence Day, that entire kingdom, because of the Locust attack, is like reduced to 4,000. So like that just shows you obviously the brink and the chaos that obviously Gears of War Emergence Day is going to bring. And just again, there's potential Gears of War, the passion that we have. And I've probably got to start talking, bro, because I could probably honestly go on for hours and hours. But hey, that's what
I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. You putting it down, and we definitely a lot of the stuff I did.
I'm learning a lot of shit about Gears today,
bro. Honestly, like this is like going to school and really enjoying the course.
I told you he was an encyclopedia. Okay.
Yeah, I just listen to myself, man. I know I'll just keep going, but I feel like that's probably a good enough amount to share,
Well, listen, you did a great job, brother, and you kind of really put down, shout out to Lady Foxfire, who is another ginormous Gears head. She's in the chat. Great to see her here. and she yelled out in all caps, she loves this roadmap, Shadows, and it does sound like legit.
I think it's super realistic, you know, like we already have obviously Gears of War Reloaded announced. That's confirmed for this year. Gears of War E-Day obviously announced last year. Like, there's no way. Like, typically every Gears of War game has been released a year after. And I said last year, obviously Gears of War E-Day being announced in 24, regardless if E-Day is this year or not, had to confirm that there was a Gears of War release this year, because there's no way we would go with the hype and the high of like Gears of War E-Day finally been announced, and we've been waiting 6 years playing Gears 5, and for then obviously to go another year into 2025 and then just be like, oh, we're ready. And then it's like, oh, we're not quite ready yet. We'll give you another year. And it's like, nah, I'm ready now.
Yeah.
So that's why Gears of War Reloaded is going to fill that boot. Yeah.
So Shadow, I saw in the chat somebody bring up a point that I don't know how relevant it will actually be to what's the reality, but the fact that I forget, I feel bad because I forget who wrote it, but they brought up the idea that the fact that this has multiplayer, doesn't that kind of not bode well for the idea of E-Day coming soon after that? Because like because E-Day is going to have his own multiplayer, right? So are you going to introduce a new multiplayer, have brand new people go over there, and then what's going to happen when the new E-Day comes? That this becomes a ghost town? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's basically kind of what did happen, obviously, with Gears of War Ultimate Edition and Gears of War 4 releasing a year later. However, I think this multi-platform push that Gears of War is desperately needed for longevity-wise, player base-wise, health-wise. I think you come out with Gears of War Reloaded as basically immortalizing the Gears of War 1 experience now forever, with the potential to have a good, healthy player base, because it is multi-platform crossplay. That was obviously what the previous Gears of War Ultimate Edition in 2015 obviously didn't have, and that kind of, I feel like, led to its downfall. Whereas this time around, the fact that you've got Gears of War Reloaded going out on Xbox, you've got it going out on PlayStation 5, you've got it out on Windows PC, you've got it out on Steam, you've got it out on cloud gaming, you can get it on Game Pass console, you can get it on Game Pass Ultimate. I think that just gives the opportunity to obviously not only, because the main thing about like remaking these original Gears of War trilogy games is the story. But like I said, as a Gears of War fan, the Gears of War community, if the Coalition thought of bringing these out with no multiplayer, like people would have been raging. Like they would just been like the online Twitter, Gears of War would just be going madness, because again, we got cut so short in Gears 5 2 years in. So then obviously wait this long to not have any like new multiplayer experience to play would have just been absolutely a disaster. And so I feel like, maybe they could have obviously not included the multiplayer, but I feel like they obviously just going to include that in there to bring the full package. But maybe, you sunset the obviously Xbox 360 games, because that's the thing with Gears of War. There's still little pockets of community that are still playing actively every single game. Like you can still go on Gears of War 2 at like nighttime in the American time zone, and you will find Ranked Guardian on Gears of War 2, which obviously came out like 17 years ago, but there's still people playing that today, 17 years later. No matter what other games come out, no matter there's even newer Gears of War games, you can play, dedicated servers, better frame rate, better resolution. You still got like a good couple of thousand people that are still playing Gears of War 2 and Gears of War 3. I don't even know if they're like backwards compatible. They might even still be on the Xbox 360 console at this rate. But, they're playing laggy, like host base, like, 30 frames, 720p, and they're loving it. Yeah. So, this is obviously a love letter to, Gears fans, the Gears of War community. But, like, this is basically the ultimate step to obviously, like, try and get Gears of War to be on the main stage of, like, some of the best, biggest gaming franchises of all time, as it so well deserves. As a Gears of War fan since the original, I literally grew up in school where I had maybe one or two kids in my year that played Gears of War, but nobody played it. Nobody cared about Gears of War. I was the only person that played it. Everybody was on the Xbox 360, had a couple PlayStation 3 mans. But when I was a kid in school, middle school, high school, it was all about Xbox 360. But nobody played Gears of War. I don't know if it was a UK thing or whatever. In the UK, it was COD, FIFA, Call of Duty, FIFA, Call of Duty, FIFA. And it's still probably like that today. So, like, even back then, I always felt like Gears of War was forever underrated. and obviously opening the franchise up to more platforms, more players, bigger player base.
You know what?
More Gears fans, like just healthier franchise IP overall. Especially like, if you watch the Gears of War movie, let's say if it comes out in the next 2 years on Netflix, you don't have an Xbox, but you got a PlayStation 5. You don't want to be
Well,
like, I can go watch,
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hold it.
Yeah, hold your thoughts there, because I do want to get into that. But before we do, I didn't get a chance to speak with Crispy. Crispy, again,
I want to hear what he says, yeah.
You've been on many of the shows where we've talked about the Gears of War trilogy, the Marcus Phoenix collection, and obviously there's a rumor, folks. It's floating around. Go anywhere where people are talking about Gears of War, and Gears 2 and 3 Reloaded are in that conversation. And are they happening? I can't confirm it. I don't know anybody at the coalition that's going to give that kind of information to me, but we got one, and it only makes sense that 2 and 3 are happening. But Crispy, I do want to get your thoughts on that, how this thing just dropped. It dropped on a Monday out of nowhere, and I think a lot of that has to do with Xbox literally having so much to show in June. They're like, we just got to get these announcements out of the way. Let's get your thoughts on that, man.
I don't think that. I actually think that they realized that with the price increase that they got a lot of flack and a lot of, not great content for themselves. I mean, we look at Xbox at this point, and mostly they go to socials more than any other company. They don't put a lot on, like, the Super Bowl or something like that. They really look at what the consumer wants. And I truly believe, and this is an opinion, is that Xbox looked at how the Gears family, like myself, like Shadows, like even you both, you have to realize that they looked at that and said, no multiplayer. They put that out there. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
They put that out there, and people said, F no. Okay. And maybe I'm talking for me and Shadows more than anybody else. But you look at what they have projected right now. And let's be honest here. Okay. Gears 5 is a totally different game from Gears 1. Like, Shadows, come on, bro. Multiplayer, totally different game.
Well, even just not going crazy into it, like simple, quickly, like even the smallest thing, like the movement mechanics in Gears of War 1, there's no wall cancel. Now, like if you ain't a Gears of War player, you ain't even know what I'm even talking about. And so, like, that's what I mean of how hard and deep Gears of War goes. But yeah, Gears 1, compared to all the other Gears of War games ever, is the only game that has no wall cancel, which is basically the ability to stop you taking cover. In Gears 1, when you go to press A or your action button to take cover, you have to take that, like, you have to do it. You can't back out. In the other games where it's called wall cancel, where basically as you're sliding into the wall, you can like pawn your analog stick mid like wall bounce and bring obviously your character, like you can basically cancel the animation. Whereas in Gears 1, it's like you have to commit to that animation. So even the movement in Gears of War 1, Gears of War Ultimate Edition, and Gears of War Reloaded is totally different to all the other Gears of War games. But yeah, continue.
Let's be honest here. Like, most PlayStation gamers have no clue what the hell you just said. It's one of those things, okay, where I say,
oh man,
right,
it's gonna be a long day, PlayStation, man. It's gonna be a long day.
Look at a game, okay? Like, it's like Halo. Like, I don't understand Halo like Boom does, or C Money. You understand what I'm saying? I don't understand it. I'll be frank, I'm also blind in my right eye. In first-person shooters, I hate them. Okay? I hate them. All right? But at the same time, do you understand what we go through? You know what I'm saying? And it's one of those things that at first I was like, where's Gears 2 and Gears 3? Because, I mean, I was a part of Gears 3 beta. I killed like 20 people with a sawed off and a natural. Okay, like that's what I did in the beta. Okay, and then they murked them. You know, especially the sawed off. They murked it. Okay, and they're like, no, you can't do that. But at the same time, I had like many people that hit me up and was like, that was the greatest thing I ever seen. You were basically in TDM and 15 people with respawns and you killed them all and won the match. And I said, and guess what? They nerfed it. Because like all I did was they kept using the sawed off. I kept picking it up. I kept, you know, just going around the box. And trenches, by the way.
Yeah.
Trenches, by the way.
Yeah.
And this is what I say. Understand that these people, they play like, okay, like what does PlayStation guys play? Oh, apparently Call of Duty, right? This is not the same realm, my friend.
Oh, man.
Y'all think you got something? I'm going to tell you right now, you ain't got shit.
Let me,
I'm going to
save that for the second question.
Yeah,
save that for the second question because that's really the second half of the show is what the significance of this means it going on to PlayStation 5 because there are a lot of Xbox purists that are pissed. They don't like this.
They can be as mad as they want, boom. But the fact is that me and Shadows, I know that, look at this and say, Gears lives. And it also lives rent-free in their damn heads. And they don't understand it. They you know, I've seen clips of you and Fuzzy talking about it, not knowing what's actually transpiring at that point in time. And I look at it and I say, okay, you went back to the first one again. Keep in mind, Ultimate Edition's there. Hello. So you went back to the first one. Why? What? You're releasing it on PlayStation. Why? Oh, wait. It's called FOMO. All right. So hypothetically, and this is my opinion, my guess, they drop on June 6th, they drop a trailer plus a beta, okay, for all consoles. All right, they throw it out there, see what happens, especially on PlayStation, because you know, I mean, PlayStation's only playing ball now, not before, but you never know. And they drop that, and then they say, okay, E-Day next year is only on Xbox until we see fit. They're not going to tell you that, but until they see fit, okay. And then you have 2 and 3 after, in a moment of time, basically making Gears a hub. Let's absorb these people that have never experienced it. Let them understand how impactful, even if you just play the campaign, you play the multiplayer, eventually, if it's true Gears 2 Horde, I love it. But think about it. Like, but you have to realize that we all screamed when we said no multiplayer. We saw that and we were like, no.
Yeah, Fuzzy, Crispy actually got mad at me and Fuzzy. I was like, you know what? I don't care. Give me the single player. And he was like, what? I want to punch you right now, but like he wants to like physically.
Yeah, and I said that, you know, in a nice way, of course. But I mean, let's think about it here. Like, there are some of us, and I'm gonna tell you, for Gears, for what we've been through and all the BS that they've done to us, to see E-Day was the start of something special. And you know what? If they increment it like we wanted it all at once, but at the end of the day, for Microsoft, Could they not sell Gears 2 and 3 at $40 a piece?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
think about it. Like, and that's the thing. Like, these games are so old. I played them multiple times. Why would I care if a PlayStation guy who's never bought an Xbox gets to play that? That is asinine. It is disrespectful to the masterpiece of the first three. It is disrespectful. And I look at that and I see Xbox supposed guys, quotes, and they don't do anything with it.
Well, I mean, listen.
I look at and I say, Gears is more than that. And it is.
And I do want to kind of I want to take what you're saying and move it to the next to the next topic, brother, because again, it's one of those things. So you have a lot to say about it. You're super passionate about it, you and Shadows, but I do want to get there because there is a conversation to be had about this going to PlayStation. And again, some of the rhetoric from some of the biggest Xbox guys that I know hasn't been good the last couple of days. There's been a lot of fighting with the community over this going. A lot of people feel, like I said, I'm not saying it. I don't feel betrayed at all. It's in Game Pass and it's for free for anyone that owns Ultimate, which is something that went over a lot of people's heads. They're literally giving the update away for free, and somehow that just got overlooked. But before we actually get to that conversation, I do want to catch up on Super Chats, and I want to bring C Money in to get his thoughts on it because, again, it is going to be on PlayStation 5, and I have a very strong suspicion that you saw the dual or the triple release on Steam, consoles, PlayStation, Xbox and PlayStation 5. I think Gears of War E-Day that's going to happen as well. I think that is not going to be a stagnant release because they're going to want people to play, especially multiplayer, which it's going to have. But real quick, we have Parksy 1972 has become a channel member. So Parksy, nice to see you back here, brother. Thank you so much for joining the channel. Lady Foxfire, so great to see you here. I hope you are doing well. She says this after dropping a very generous $5 super chat. Had to come by and support my Gears bros. Been out celebrating my birthday. Happy birthday to you, Lady Foxfire. But I'll be listening. Everyone hit that like button. Hashtag PlayStation versus Xbox on Gears. Yeah, that is the running conversation that we keep hearing that, again, I'm not saying this, folks. I'm only repeating. So don't get it all twisted. But there are a lot of Xbox guys that keep saying, I can't wait to rip and tear these ponies. That is what the people are saying. And we know, listen, it is what it is.
They better show up. I don't want to see no embarrassing clips from PlayStation dudes. Like, I thought they were going to stomp us and running the shit. So y'all better be putting in that work.
The X-Fall, I got you.
They are not ready, man.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. I know the Gears community is salivating right now as we speak, but do you, K Now, the Broke Boy Insider, drops not one but two $2 super chats. The first one says, my Doom, the Dark Ages Collector's Edition has shipped. I have to check my email. And yes, that I saw someone unbox it. Man, it looks really nice. I mean, this might be the best collector's edition that Bethesda's ever done. He drops an additional $2 super chat and says that the Mafia of the Old Country, which had its reveal, says that not only does it release August 8th, August is a packed month. Wow. It's only $50. Like, that is amazing. And you know something? I got to be honest with you. $80 games, you better, take notice, because when you can get games like Expedition 33, Oblivion Remake, and they're $50, and you got Gears of War, Reloaded, that's $40. You got, Mafia, which looks amazing at $50. It's going to be a hard sell for $80 games. But Sir Riffs a Lot drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Shadows, your passion and insight for Gears has me excited. Hey. It's a great time to be a Gears fan. Xbox is giving their IPs the proper treatment. Indeed. We have Mac22 in the chat. Mac, great to see you here, brother. Thank you for always being in the chat. He has gifted, ladies and gentlemen, $1 Double Barrel Gaming membership. That is very kind of you. We super appreciate the generosity and the support. And of course, not to be outdone, we have 2 more gifted subs. One from Do You K Now, the Broke Boy Insider. Will, great to have you here as always, and super appreciate generosity. Now, because you said that, I have to go check my email and see if mine is on the way, because yeah, I'm going to be doing an unboxing. And Nino Vostik, our generous friend all the way from Hawaii, has gifted 1 Double Barrel Gaming membership. Super appreciate that. And thank you so much for always supporting the channel as you do. We have Mark Human 05 drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, Shadow's my guy. This is for you. Watching your content on Gears 4 helped me stay positive when I had kidney failure and was on dialysis. Thank you, bro. That is amazing.
Wow.
Thank you for sharing that, brother. Thank you very much.
I think it's just Markman.
Bro.
Oh, it's Markman. I said Mark Q. Okay, so it's Markman 05.
Hey, big love to you, man.
Thank you. Appreciate the generosity. Thank you so much for sharing that story, brother. I'm glad. I hope that you're doing well. And again, it's really great to hear those types of stories that, you know, we think we're just here talking on a mic, or we're playing on a screen on Twitch or something, and you don't know if someone is going through it, and you might be that person that's there at that particular time to kind of get somebody through it. And that's why I don't take any of the podcasting that I do, or I don't think any of us here take it for granted that we do have an audience, and that some of the messages that we've gotten, Mrs. Boom and I, over the years of being able to help people through some tough times, it's emotionally driven, and it's greatly appreciated, because we think we're just podcasting. And again, you don't know when, even though you're just talking about video games passionately, is that it might be there for somebody. And here's the story, folks. Thank you so much for sharing, brother. Mac22, who's been a channel member for 8 months, says, FYI, my gifted membership is from Nino Vostik, because he's setting aren't letting him send one. Yeah, I don't know, that's weird. Sometimes YouTube does that. I know he said he sent one, and we got the notification here. We have Day Reezy, my brother Day. Nice to see you here. God. He drops a very generous $2 super chat and says, "Oh, here we go.
Damn it!
Years of War Reloaded and Game Pass means more money for C Mustard." I'm surprised you didn't mention olives.
Buddy.
I can't believe it. Chris drops a very generous $5 super chat. And he says, speaking of Gears multiplayer, I hope E-Day does something different for it. Currently, if I sprinted for 40 minutes, I wouldn't be sweaty enough. We'll see. I think they're going to.
I have an idea.
If they're going to make it a little, easier for the people to not get wrecked.
The normies of the world. And here, gentlemen,
I was like, no, I'm here to wreck you.
Yeah, listen, I can't wait to hear the stories. But Jacob Novick drops a very generous $20 super chat. Jacob, thank you so much for the generosity. He says, hi, all. Been busy with life. Have a game. He has a game to recommend, Pirate Blood. Released 2 days ago. Pirate Blood originally started as an OG Xbox game in 2003 by a Russian studio, but got delayed to the 360, and then the publisher went bankrupt. I heard about this story. I heard that it started on the Xbox, the OG Xbox, and it's finally released after all those years. But see, money, I want to get you too.
It's not like
well, I'm sure that it does. But see, I want to get your thoughts on this, and obviously, I know you have a lot to say regarding it releasing on PlayStation. And I know that, again, I said earlier that there are a lot of Gears players on Xbox that are salivating for the PlayStation community to come in and just wreck them. And again, you can't shut off crossplay. That's locked. So if you're going to go playing online, you're going to be playing against people on PC and probably against people on Xbox. And if you've never played Gears, it's going to be a bloodbath. But my question is, does it going to PlayStation, C Money, actually hurt or help the brand?
I think at this point, we can all kind of agree that Xbox's decision to take a lot of these games and put them everywhere is doing nothing but help. The real situation is doing nothing but help. The crybabies, for sure, they're going to be crying, but there's so little of them, right? Like they're a dying breed, right? More and more of them just kind of convert and realize that the crying should stop. Like, because when you look at the numbers and find out that, on the PlayStation Store, the top 3 games were Xbox games, right? It shows that this is only a positive, right? Aside from Xbox making more money, which in turn gets us more games and more Game Pass games and all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
It is expanding the brand reach, right? It is going to go ahead and take these games and put them in a position where they are now more well known, right? And less victim of, the Xbox tax that gets put on them, where these games get treated like they're trash. Like forever, people told us Gears was garbage, right? And irrelevant. It doesn't matter, except, what happened. Now people are excited again. I don't know when the pre-order date goes live, but I'm definitely interested to see how the PlayStation Store reacts to the pre-orders going live, right? So far, every game that has gone up for pre-order has, from Xbox, has top PlayStation Store, right? So I'm definitely interested in seeing how that's going to play out. But ultimately, as far as just Gears of War, the brand, what does that mean? We already know they're planning to do bigger and better stuff with it, right? They have the Netflix movie, they have the Netflix show, right? This is not something that they're looking to have contained, right? And just like, Fallout, right? I'm sure when they saw Fallout come out and saw how many people on every platform went ahead and started playing Fallout again because of, how it became so relevant, I think they're expecting similar results for everything else, right? Everything else they do. So if they're going to be putting these things on Netflix and stuff like that, and they're going to make movies and TV shows, they're going to want a place that everyone can go ahead and hop in, right? Nobody's going to go ahead and be like, oh man, there's a Gears TV show, I love it. There's a game for it. Let me go play. Oh, it's on the Xbox. I don't have an Xbox. Let me go spend $400 so that I can try out a game that I don't even know if I'm going to like, right? I'm just pumped about it, right? It's just not realistic, right? And I think at the end of the day, Xbox knows this, and I think every, true Xbox fan that wasn't in it for the war of it, right, and was in it just because they love the Xbox is not going to be crying right now. Just like, I see Crispy Bomb and Shadow, right? They're so pumped, right? Why? Because they love the game, right? It's not so much about where they played the game. It's just like that was just a circumstance, right? They love the game, so that's where it is. So that's where they're going to play it. And I think, for the health of this industry, that's what we have to go back to remembering, right? That it's about the games, each individual game being made. And, you want them to have the best chance possible to survive. And for Shadows to be so hardcore in a place where my dude got to wait an hour to get into a match, that's wild, dog. I would have checked out long ago.
Bro, literally,
right?
What I do on the stream and the podcast today is what I do every day. I just sit here and I look at chat and I just talk about Gears of War for hours every day, because we can't find games, but we can talk about it.
Unbelievable.
Facts. I mean, look, the reality is that we are obviously in a different world, right, than where gaming was before. And listen, we joke about it and talk about it all the time, especially on my show, where we talk about the fact that like kids today are not growing up the same way we did. They could care less, dude. Listen, I'm a huge Xbox fan, but my kids don't care either way. You know what I'm saying? They want to play what they play. They play Roblox. They play it on the Xbox. They play it on a tablet. This is what they really don't give a shit, right? They're just having fun, right? They're doing it like when we were kids, right? Like in the purest form of that, before we knew that there was a beef to be had with different console makers. You know what I'm saying? Like before we knew, it was like when I had Sega, my cousins had Super Nintendo, I was like, sweet, I could play Super
All
Nintendo
the
when I go there.
games.
You could play Sega when you come over here. This is dope, right? But look, I mean, I'm not going to pretend like I wasn't a part of it. I was a huge part of it, and it was fun, and it was something that we like to do. But at the end of the day, you know, times have changed, and what I'm excited about is for the world that we live in now, where Xbox is supplying us with more games than we can ever even, like, I'm talking about just Xbox, let alone, you know, what other games are being released. Just Xbox doing what they do with Game Pass, giving us more games than we could ever have time to play, is crazy. You know, like, there's so many games out right now, and it's like, you know, there's only so much time, right?
Yep.
Like, I'm loving Towerborn. That's a fun game. Oblivion came out, that kind of stole my soul. I wanted to hop into that. I kind of put it a little bit on rest because you know, I want to give Towerborn some time. You know,
Expedition
33,
another one.
amazing looking game. I had the preview for it, so I'm a little bit different because I played a good amount of the preview before it came out, and then I played the beginning of the full release, just the first part that broke your heart before you go any further. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna put that on rest until I have the time to get through it, because, you know, Towerborn and Oblivion kind of have me locked. But it's like there's just so many games to play, and I like, you can't be upset at what Xbox is doing when you look at what they're giving you between first party and third party games going day one in the Game Pass. Like, come on, man. It's crazy. Like, I know that the PlayStation fans, forget the ponies that we all make fun of, right? You know that the PlayStation fans are so happy if they knew that these were Xbox games, because obviously they don't care to know. But if they knew that these were all Xbox games that they're actually going to be enjoying and that they are enjoying right now, they would be so thankful. You know, like, they would just be like, oh God, thank you, Xbox. I did not know that there was this quality level available to us, but now there is, right? What a beautiful day for Xbox to be out here being the champion of gaming across the board, right? So listen, all I see is positive from what's happening. I know, you know, you bring it up, the crybabies out there. Yes, they're crying. Gears is one of the you know, Halo, Gears, and Forza, right? Like, that was forever an Xbox thing. But also remember, that's all we had, really. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
back in the day, that's all we had. That is not the case anymore. You know, Halo, Gears, and Forza do not headline, you know, every year a new game coming out. It's just not what it is. They come out every few years, every 4, 5, 6 years at this point. Like, whenever they want to, they drop, and we're filled up with so many other games that it's just like, you just gotta kind of let go, right? Let go of the belief that if it's Halo or Gears. I love Halo. Listen, there's very few people who love Halo more than I do. And like, at this point, it just kind of is what it is, right? If this means that these games get longer lives, get more money put into them, get better funding because they're exposed to more players, and that's just what it is, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just what it is. I'm glad that they went ahead and just did what they needed to do. Don't BS it. Don't, like, delay stuff. It's like, listen, we're doing this. We're going in. There's no red line. We're just putting the games where it makes sense for us to make money so that you guys can get more. And I mean, that's where I'm at. They're still taking care of the core players on Xbox, which is dope with Game Pass. But they're just taking care of gamers in general right now. I mean, the idea that PlayStation is just dropping one game that matters this year and a couple games that are going to fail immediately, and then announcing new studios that are going to fail. Like, this is crazy. Like, PlayStation is just basically abandoning the idea of what PlayStation was. I really feel like these are all the last games that they're coming out with. Like, Naughty Dog, this is what Sucker Punch with the Ghost. I don't feel like there's going to be a lot of big, you know, expenses put into new games from them in the future, unless these go wild, which I highly doubt. I see only decline in their future with their first party, which is wild. So Xbox is doing what's necessary, man, to stay relevant, to stay, being able to fund gaming the way they have been. And I'm all for it, man. Let's keep it rocking.
As the kids like to say, we're not the same. PlayStation is just not the same as Xbox. You can rattle the chains and you can scream to the high heavens. PlayStation is a shell of its former self. If you think otherwise, just look at the output. They just can't compete. And again, no one's taking away from Ghost of Yotai being amazing. It's probably going to be an amazing game, but that's just one game, folks. They just cannot keep up with the output. Shadows, I want to bring you in, brother, but I do want to give the microphone over first to Crispy Bomb.
Yes, okay.
Crispy is going to be, he actually closed out his segment talking about it going. Crispy, you've already kind of set the tone for this being a good thing for Gears, because you've heard the stories of Shadows. He's like, he has to wait an hour to play a game. So Gears is coming out, and it's launching day and date on Steam. It's launching, on PS5, on Xbox, every platform except for the Switch, and it could at some point release on a Switch. I don't see why it wouldn't be able to. So who knows if that's even a plan.
Hell yeah.
What it's ultimately going to do is it's going to bring in new players on PlayStation for $40. It's an entry. It's a drop in the bucket for a lot of gamers, because $40 is a considered budget price. But let's not make a mistake. You are getting Gears of War on PlayStation for the first time. In your opinion, as a Gears head, is this good or bad for Gears?
I mean, it's amazing. It's one of those things that people say, "Oh, Gears is trash," and I look at them and they're already pre-ordering it. It's actually hilarious. It's like, hey, if God of War or Spider-Man came over here, would I possibly download it? Maybe, but I'm also a multiplayer gamer, and I think a lot of Xbox people that are on the fence, like, what's a good game now? This is why we push back so hard on having no multiplayer. Multiplayer is the DNA of Xbox. Okay? Always multiplayer, no matter what. If it's an option, if it's your dev, at least give it. And I'm not saying that, South of Midnight or something like that should have multiplayer. That's a story-driven narrative. That's great. But at the same time, imagine Halo without it. Imagine that. I don't think that's acceptable. And I think a lot of people need to realize that there is a community behind a game that continues to push them to do better. And sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, Xbox looked at the community behind Gears, and I feel like they changed a little bit. They said, you know what? We do want our Xbox players to be able to curb stomp stands, as I like to call them. And also, and people, I'm going to tell you right now, I've been in the Gears community forever. We won't trash talk you that much. We will give you the curb stomp. And one thing I'll say, if you're a PlayStation gamer, I'll teach you how to play the game. That's my role. Being many years, talking a year of my life in Gears of War. I won't do that. If we have a good conversation and you're not an asshat, I'm good with it. I will teach you how to play the game if you're interested. But most people aren't. But also, it's never been on a PlayStation. Maybe it comes to Switch too. You never know. Okay? The point is that this is the one game that nobody can touch. It is unique in its own aspect, and there's nothing else like it. And when you actually learn it and understand it, it is so much fun, even if you die, by the way, because you tried. And you tried so hard that it's an MLG type game. And they used to do this. And I hope it comes back.
I think it
But
will.
they have to go back to like Warzone or something like that. Those intricate moments that you're like, this dude has got 4 people against him and he kills them all. Those are those moments that you watch on Twitch or whatever it may be, and you say, man, that dude is impeccable. How the hell did he do that? And it's one of those weird things. And I've only seen it with maybe Call of Duty at times, or, you know, like as far as shooting games, like we're not talking the other ones, okay? But shooting games, maybe Call of Duty, okay? Halo had that at one point, but it died a long time ago. I hope it comes back better, okay? Because now you have Activision, you have that ability. There are games that people need to learn. I see that with Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. Okay, mostly fighting games. I see that real like visceral, like I'm gonna mess you up. And you don't see that often anymore. But when somebody goes and talks smack to me, and I decide to not do beers and gears, and I do sober and gears, y'all getting destroyed, bro. And
So
I'm
you think that
blind in my right eye.
Be big for the franchise, though, right? You do think that more players means that this is going to be
More
exposed.
players means some people will hate it. I understand that. They're probably going to be loud as hell. I do. I think that they're going to be like, this game is trash because they suck at it. It's okay. But also, there's going to be players that are like, man, this is something I've never experienced before. And I think, you know, Gears of War is one of the few games still to this day that can provide someone that. And I think it's an intricate thought process. It's like when I play with PC players, okay? You see the PC thing on there. They're like, oh, they're playing on PC. Guess what, team? Go for the freaking long shot or sniper, whatever the hell you want to call it. Okay? Go for that. Make sure they don't get it. And I guarantee we're going to be damn close to winning. You know why? Because after that, there ain't much. There isn't. And I've done it many times, and we've won many times. But at the same time, I don't care what they think. If they don't want to buy it, don't buy it. But it's $40 on your console, and I get it for free. And yes, I get it for free because I have the digital download. Okay? So what are we talking about here?
It's a great point.
This is Xbox saying, look, you want to try something? Try it. And I'm going to be honest with you. I think Gears is going to far surpass, especially at the price point, not going to lie, but far surpass Forza. I think
it could very well be. Yeah.
Because they are like anybody that hasn't played the game needs to at least try it because they can't
Gears
deny.
Of War is legendary, brother. Everybody knows what it is.
You say Gears of War might pass Forza?
In regards to sales on PlayStation. I mean, it's
at the price point. I'm not, you know, $40. That's you know, like what is Horizon doing? Okay,
well,
like
no, I
80,
think
100, like, you know, they have different.
The other thing you got to keep in mind too, though, about this release, though, is as much as Xbox people are like, oh my god, my game is going over there. You also have to understand that it doesn't look like hot new game, right? It is a remaster of an older game, and again,
Tell
I
that
said
to
it already,
oblivion.
but it didn't like blow my mind visually, right? So you're gonna have people on PlayStation, like, to be real, who don't even know what the hell Gears of War is. And when this shows up in the store and they look at it and they're like, okay, I mean, this looks fine, but it doesn't look like super dope. You're not, I don't think that you're gonna have, I don't think there's gonna be that many. You know what I'm saying? I really don't.
Right now listen. I'm
like,
gonna
if
push back
E-Day
on
was
that.
coming,
If
E-Day was coming, I think that would be a bigger, like, holy
coming.
shit, look at
Yeah.
this game. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, in this discussion right now, if it were E-Day that we were talking about,
Oh yeah.
it's like, holy fuck, look at E-Day.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah, you're
this is
right.
a crazy, beautiful look. Like, wow, I gotta experience this.
Oh, spectacular!
On
Never played
Gears,
Gears, right?
You gotta remember, they
Yeah,
could have always played
this
Gears.
is
You know what I'm saying? Like, Gears is not.
This is one
They
of
could've played
those
it on
things.
PC, they could have gotten a cheaper console. So, like, I don't think it's gonna go that crazy. I think there'll be a good amount, but I feel like Forza, it's just, I mean, it's still one of the best looking racing games that are out there. Best looking games that are out there.
This
And
is
it's
where
amazing.
I have to push back. GOW. What is it? Is it God of War or Gears of War?
PlayStation is God of War.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where's the multiplayer?
They don't play multiplayer though. Like,
They are gonna play it now.
You
outside
gotta
of
realize.
free to play, they don't pay to play multiplayer. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just don't, outside of Call of Duty.
COD
Right, but
is
you
the
can't
only
really
is the
compare
only
to
exception
anything
to
on
that
Call of
rule.
Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, Call of Duty is not like, you can't be like, well, they do it on Call. Like, yeah, they do
I mean,
it on Call.
Madden, 2K.
But each one has
like
like their own built-in like fan base already, right? Like, that the problem is that Gears of War going over there, again, as much as like, oh my god, what's Xbox doing? They're building a brand over there now. They got to start from the bottom, and they're gonna have hardcore people that maybe know about the brand and want to do it, and want to go buy it, and they'll have people who are curious. I personally don't think it's gonna be a huge. I mean, I would love to be wrong. I would love to see it all over PlayStation, but I wouldn't like. I'm not gonna go ahead and say that it's gonna outdo. I don't think it will outdo Forza. I think Forza.
I want to leave on this point because, like, obviously, like, you've hijacked my points, but and it's not like, you look, like, at the end of the day, like, I look at a game, okay, and I look at Gears of War, and I've seen a lot of stands. I don't call them ponies because it's mostly stands. Like, they just don't understand. And
no, they understand. They just pretend not to understand, though, Crispy.
They are talking a lot of smack about one game. Maybe that will get them to buy it because that's what they have to do. I just download it.
Yeah.
Think of that. And also, I look at games like Halo, for instance. There's nothing on PlayStation that is like Halo. And there comes a point in time where you say, well, maybe I should try that. And maybe it's on there. And I have the console already. I'm not saying everybody's like some kind of like, I could buy whatever console I want because I hear that. I'm a peasant because I like Game Pass. Oblivion. Okay. How amazing has that done? All right. Like, these are little nuances that I didn't see before, but I understand the Xbox looks at these IPs now, including Gears of War, and says, you know what? We can make this even bigger. And that's not going to hurt me because I already have it in Game Pass, or I already purchased it years ago, and they continue to push that narrative. Hey, you bought the game, here you go. Okay? It's not the worst thing in the world, but I can understand why people hate it. It's just not the same time. And I think it's ridiculous to think that everyone's going to buy one game or another. I mean, seriously, like Expedition 33, you have 2 million, but really it's a multi-plat. What, if From Software saw that from Elden Ring, what do you
Elden
think?
Ring just made 30 million. That's an anomaly.
You know what I mean?
That's
there's no Elden Ring is built by how many devs? Expedition 33 is built by how many devs?
Right.
Okay. But Xbox has a company or a developer like the Coalition that is working on multiple different games. If you haven't read all the context involved and what they're doing, and you sit there and you're like, okay, like they're doing all of this.
Well, I want to keep it tight, Crispy. I want to keep it onto Gears, of whether or not it was, because we got to bring Shadows in. We are at the 90-minute mark. I don't mean to cut you off, brother, but I want to keep it tight with Gears and what it meant being on PlayStation 5. And for you, obviously, it doesn't hurt the brand. You like Shadows, and we're gonna get into Shadows' opinion about it. Right now, don't feel that it's a detriment to the series. It's more of a help because more people are going to be able to play it. How many people are going to buy it, Crispy? I got to be honest with you, Crispy. I think you're onto something where it could, and again, this is just a thought, and you made mention of the $40 price point. It could at least match what Forza is doing. And the reason why I say it could is because it is a third-person, over-the-shoulder type of game. And right now, those are absent on PlayStation. PlayStation gamers are starving for that type of content. And all they've heard about for years is Gears, Halo, and Forza. And Forza right now selling super well on PlayStation. I have a feeling that you're right. Gears is going to sell extremely well. Now, again, Money also adds to that where it doesn't look as good as something like Oblivion, because Oblivion is Unreal Engine 5, and they haven't really said what engine this is and how much of a remaster or a remake it is, but we have seen some 4K stills, and they do look good. I cannot wait to see this, see a trailer. But Shadows, I do want to bring you in, brother.
I'm ready.
In your opinion, being a Gears fan, being someone that has been a part of the brand since inception, this has always been looked upon as a crown jewel for Xbox because it was exclusive, right? And in the last couple of days, you've had a lot of people in the community, a lot of Xbox guys that were kind of on the razor's edge of a quote unquote abandoning the brand because Xbox is ruined and Xbox is not going to do. Why make consoles? So the easy question here, I don't know if there's an easy answer, is does Gears going to PlayStation, and not just this Gears, I believe that it's going to be Gears of War E-Day that is going to launch day and date on multiple platforms, including PlayStation. Does this somehow ruin the brand for you?
No, polar opposite. This is the best thing to ever happen to the Gears of War franchise since Microsoft acquired it. Yeah, this is the second best decision ever. Obviously, there's so much to unpack here, right? Gears of War as a franchise is almost 20 years old. I played Gears of War 1, my first match of Gridlock. I was an 11-year-old boy. I'm 30 today. This will be my third time playing Gridlock in 3 different types of Gears of War 1 experiences. Yeah, so the Gears of War franchise is 20 years old. It is a third-person cover-based shooter, one of a kind. Not a single third-person cover-based shooter exists except Gears of War. That's why I've never moved on, because there's no other games like it. It's only Gears of War, and I love it. That's the reason why I love it. Literally, simply as that, third-person cover-based. Give me a Nash shotgun, a little wall bounce, and I'll play that for the rest of my life. The thing with Gears of War is it's a super niche game. It's you either like it or you don't, and the multiplayer is even more niche than the story. And so, you know, all of these newer people that are obviously going to be experiencing Gears of War for the first time, this is by far, without a doubt, the hardest console shooter of all time. It has by far the highest, like, deepest learning curve ever. And it's like, if you don't even understand, obviously, the basic fundamentals of Gears of War, you're going to need to run through the campaign like 20 times, get the insane achievements, or, you know, get all of the trophies. And that. I really do hope they also have seriously get 10,000 kills in versus multiplayer. That needs to obviously still be in the game, so that all of these people have to play the game potentially for 2 years plus to even at least get seriously. Yeah, because to try and get 10,000 multiplayer kills is going to take you. I think on Gears of War Ultimate Edition, I think it took me like maybe 6 months, and that's me playing it day in, day out, 12 hours plus every day. King of the Hill, 50 to 100 kills a match. Like, if you know. I think there's online, I see, especially on YouTube, I see there's like a good content scene for like trophies and platinums, I think it's called. And so hopefully if Gears of War Reloaded with the platinum trophy is also, you need to get seriously, which is get 10,000 versus multiplayer kills, then, you know, all of those PlayStation guys who want the trophies and the platinum are going to have to play Reloaded for at least 2+ years, which obviously even goes into E-Day. But yeah, you talk about like the Gears of War sales and stuff like that. And also, obviously, the importance of the Gears of War franchise going to PlayStation 5. Like, I think, again, this is like one of the best decisions ever, just for the longevity, the health, the player base, just the overall Gears of War IP. We spoke about earlier about Netflix. You know, if you watch the Gears of War movie on Netflix, if you watch the adult film animated series in the future, and all you have is a PlayStation 5, then obviously, if, you know, Xbox and Gears of War were still held back as an exclusive, then that doesn't really work, you know? Like, if I'm going to watch the Netflix Gears of War movie and all I have is the PS5 for my entire family, like, Gears of War needs to be on there. They need to be able to go from watching the Netflix movie to go pick up the next Gears of War game, or all of the Gears of War games that exist. Obviously, the reason why they're starting off with the Gears of War 1 and Gears of War 1 only, and the main reason for even, like, recreating the original trilogy and doing all what they're doing is literally more so for the multi-platform push for the Gears of War franchise, more than it is for the Xbox fans. But that's why, obviously, they're giving away Gears of War Reloaded as a free digital, like, copy for free. Obviously, if you're a long-time Gears fan, you know, Xbox fan, you know, you should have had Gears of War Ultimate Edition in the last 10 years, whether that's on Xbox One or on the Windows 10 PC version. So obviously the main reason why this is all happening and why this is like the best thing ever to obviously see Gears of War go to PlayStation, and the reason why it's obviously Gears 1 only, is because for the story, like the story and the narrative of the Gears of War universe is the whole reason, and like it explains why every decision revolved around Gears of War is happening, is because of the Gears of War story. In order for the Gears of War franchise to be up there is one of the best gaming franchises of all time, along the likes of Minecraft and Fortnite, which is playable on every screen, every device, every platform, which Gears of War deserves to be. Like, as a Gears of War fan, the thing that I care about playing Gears of War for 20 years is I want to be playing Gears of War for another 20 years. And so obviously, what can obviously Microsoft and Xbox do to ensure that Gears of War potentially has the most players, the most customers, the most fans that it can globally, no matter where you play, where you live, what country you're from, what language you speak. You know, everybody just have that same love for Gears of War through the game, just being available everywhere. I did pull up some, you know, statistics from Gears of War 1. You know, Gears of War 1 was obviously a commercial success, if you did forget. You know, if we talk about how is it obviously going to impact PlayStation and the fact that it's never been on there for 19 years, PlayStation 5 potentially could be getting a 2006 happening in August. If we go back to November 2006, Gears of War sold 1 million copies in its first week. In 2006, it was 1 million copies sold and over 3 million copies in the first 10 weeks. It was the fastest selling video game of 2006, the second most played game on Xbox Live during 2007, and obviously one of the most best-selling games on the Xbox 360. The fact that obviously PlayStation 5 have never experienced this, they are basically going to be getting that in August. We're 3 months away from that. So it's like, even if they replicated what Gears of War did back in the Xbox 360 days, to me, honestly, I feel like Gears of War should sell like 1 million, like 2 million copies on PS5, you know, especially because they love their third-person games, and all of their third-person games have zero multiplayer experiences, really. So you give them, you know, something that they're kind of used to in the third-person range, but it has like the full package, you know, we're talking full campaign story narrative. with a Thursday's multiplayer. And, you know, Crispy spoke about earlier about, you know, why obviously the multiplayer had to be included. And obviously I speak about, obviously the story is like the story is where the love is for the Gears of War like franchise, but the multiplayer is where the passion is, and obviously where the longevity and the heart of Gears of War is. Because once you play the story, you've played it, and then obviously like you're either going to move on, or you, as Gears fans do, we obviously just live it out in the multiplayer. So like we kind of needed that multiplayer, and the fact that it's going multi-platform like push, like this is just the best thing ever. As I said, I'm from the UK, struggling on Gears 5-6 years later. Can't find any matches, you know, unless I play like a super laggy experience on like 300 ping. So just more platforms, more players, more opportunities for people to get Gears of War. And we speak about earlier as well, you know, the sales and stuff like that. Like I said, realistically, Gears of War should be the best-selling Xbox game to go over to PlayStation, without a doubt. Until obviously maybe Halo. But you know, Gears of War Reloaded compared to Forza, it should clear. In my opinion, you know, I'm obviously biased, right? I don't play Forza. All biased, but realistically, the success of the Gears of War IP and how well it did, obviously, on the Xbox 360 during its prime, like there's no reason for that to not be replicated today on PlayStation 5. On board with obviously everything that it does on the PC, and then obviously the Xbox community getting to embrace it as well. And it's like, I find it, I'm in a very different like position as like a Gears of War fan. Like, I don't really have this loyalty to consoles, and I don't really get the whole console war situation. And it's like, for me as a Gears of War fan, I just want what's best for Gears, you know? Like,
great point of view, man.
Going to PlayStation means nothing to me except only good things, because to me it's just like, well, it means I get to play against more people. I get a bigger player base. I potentially obviously get, as a content creator, more viewers, you know, more people, more fans.
There you go, whatever. Brother. That's what I'm talking about. Get you to the 100,000. Yes.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah. But, you know, just for the greater good of the Gears of War franchise, the IP, longevity, health, everything, like, it's just nothing but, you know, nothing but wins, man. And if this means that obviously Gears of War can go on for the next 50 years, then I'm all for it, right? And you speak about obviously like what does Xbox have going forward if obviously games like Forza, Gears of War, and it's going to happen, Halo, go to other platforms. It's like, obviously, what does Xbox have today? And you just look at obviously the Xbox ecosystem, Game Pass, and C Money spoke about how they got to pay $40 a piece over there on PlayStation. If the Gears of War franchise is going forward with what we spoke about in terms of, we've got Gears of War Reloaded, right? That's $40. You got Gears of War E-Day, the prices have changed, so that's $80. We're at $120 right now. You drop a Gears of War 2 Reloaded and 3 Reloaded and future $40 a piece. That's 4 Gears of War games, the original trilogy, and just E-Day, that every PlayStation 5 player has to spend $200 each to experience those games. Well, obviously, if you're an Xbox fan, you can just be a part of Game Pass, and it's in there day one, right? And obviously, to start it off, you get a free copy of Gears of War Reloaded if you're a long-time Gears fan and Xbox player anyway. So, like, realistically, if you look at it like that, if by 2031, if you're on Xbox and you're a Gears of War fan, you can obviously buy the game. You can get access to it via Game Pass. Or if you're a PlayStation 5 player, in 6 years, you spent $200 to experience the original Gears of War trilogy, potentially all reloaded, plus Gears of War E-Day, right? So, and you know, that's just obviously more potentially like financial support for the Gears of War IP overall, like how much you know, the coalition and game development and stuff like that gonna get. Because I'll just finish off with some more thoughts that I did share on the Twitters, but
he froze.
E-Day, the Netflix stuff, potentially 2 and 3 Reloaded, potentially campaign DLC expansions in.
Oh, you're freezing up.
Yeah, his internet is
Sony snipers.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because you're not wrong. Shadows, I don't know if you can hear us, brother, but you froze, and I'm not sure if it's a UK thing or is it.
Hey, UK? Oh, is it me? Is it? Oh, my bad. See, look, I'm struggling to find matches of Gears 5. I'm struggling to talk about Gears, man.
Now, you know what? Listen, first of all, this has been an amazing episode because, again, it was Gears related. It was Gears focused, simply because we do have Crispy Bomb and Shadows, two of the biggest Gears players that I know. And, of course, we got a chance to see Lady Foxfire jump back into the community. And, of course, we've missed her in the chat. She's another huge Gears fan. Look, like I said, I'm with you, Xbox fans. I am not going to discount your aggravation, your disappointment, your frustration about something as important as Gears of War now being playable or eventually will be playable on a PlayStation. 18 months ago, I was, just as upset as you. I have come to realize that the gaming industry is changing. Xbox told us that they were ultimately going to go third party. Yes, I understand people keep bringing up tweets from Phil. Only 4 games. Yeah, but you know something? Things happen. Administrations change and things are done where they're not making the same money. Right?
New decisions with new information.
There you go, brother.
The
there you go.
Of the life. If you can't do that, then you're screwed, bro. If you can't,
you can't stay stagnant.
If you have to say to yourself, well, 6 months ago, I thought this. And because I thought that 6 months ago, I can never think anything else. Then I'm sorry, but life is not going to go well for you, fam. Like, it's just not. Like, that's just not what it is. You'll be doing the same thing forever. You have to be able to adapt and grow. And at the end of the day, again, like Boom said, like, I'm not gonna, I don't pretend like I was never a part of this or wasn't a big part of it. Like, I understand that a huge part of the stuff that I used to talk about was that shit, right? And I get it. But at the end of the day, even though I was talking about those things, the basis for the entire existence of everything was the fact that I loved Xbox and Xbox games, right? And that doesn't change. So if this is the new, then this is the new, man. And I'm all for it, because all it equals is us getting more. If you're mad at that, then you weren't here for the games. You were here for the talk, right? You were here for the BS console wars, right? I mean, that's just reality of what it is. If you feel any other way about it, that's what this is about. Because if you're excited to turn on your Xbox and play the new game that they dropped, whether it's a first party game or it's a third party Game Pass game that they paid for you, if that's you and you're excited, then you would be able to move past it. And I see a lot of people in the chat who move past it, right? Everybody kind of had that same
most of us have.
because
Most Xbox guys like, yeah, whatever. As long as you don't take my Game Pass away, I'm good.
Like, it's been enough time where if you're one of us, you should already be there. If you're still crying about it, you need to really think about what you're crying about, man. Like, that's what's happening. You're taking this too far. You know what I'm saying? You're going too far, and you're exposing yourself as not someone who is truly there for the games. Like, look at Shadows, man. That's fucking, like, to have the love for. Listen, I love Halo, but am I gonna play Halo every day for the rest of my life? Not a fucking chance. Because as much as I love Halo, I love games more.
Yes, gaming as a whole.
Yeah, see, that's the difference for me. Like, I'm the polar opposite, man. Like, I'm a true diehard Gears of War only. I'm not a gamer. I don't play games, man. I have Game Pass Ultimate, but I still only play Gears. But like, that's maybe a different, like, cool perspective to share. That, like, the way that I look at it is obviously, like, even though, like, Gears of War going to PlayStation, yeah, cool, whatever. Like, to me, like, I have a super PC. Like, I'm still an Xbox console gamer because of Xbox and what the brand is and what the ecosystem is and what Game Pass is and all of these features and all of these things that Xbox only has and the other platforms won't have. Like, they won't allow Game Pass on their thing. They won't get the smart reload where you load up a random game from like 20 years and you're going like, what the hell? It just loaded like this and I'm already in the game. Is it like it's paused or something? I'm like, what the hell? I loaded an Assassin's Creed 360 game and it loaded a file from like when I was like in my childhood. I'm like, what's going on? Like, things like that is obviously what makes like Xbox, the ecosystem, the brand, the
controller, the
controller. Like, this is the best controller ever. Like, yo, PlayStation man's playing on the DualSense. Like, you ain't got no chance against this on wall bounce. And like, if you try wall bounce on the PlayStation controller, you're gonna have a bad time because of the way that Gears of War plays. And like, obviously, the camera control with the 2 different analog sticks and the way that they're offset. Trying to wall bounce on the DualSense is gonna be rough, man. Especially like, because in Gears of War, you have to play, a lot of people play claw, which is basically where you hold like your analog, your finger like that, so that you can, you spam the A button like this, and then you can spam like that. So you literally like hitting the walls like this, like I don't know what the PlayStation players are going to think when we're literally spamming the walls like this, like, hit me, bro, hit me. 2-piece. Yeah, come on.
Oh my
but
God.
yeah, I can't wait, bro. But yeah, that's what I mean. Maybe that's a little bit of a different perspective. Obviously, is like, you know, I'm just a Gears of War like gamer, but I'm still on Xbox. I'm still on Xbox console. No matter Gears of War going to PlayStation, no matter Gears of War has been on PC for 10 years, I still love Xbox. I still prefer playing on the Xbox, playing on the console. You know, I've been on Xbox console since I got it in 2006 for Gears of War 1, and that's never going to change. And as long as Xbox continues to provide a console, I'm on to the next one, you know, because I just prefer it. Yeah. And I think obviously that's the direction Xbox are going. You know, they're realizing that not only for gaming, but obviously their franchises, it's like, why not just open up access? You know, you have millions of gamers, millions of people that potentially could be interested, but they're locked away, right? Let's just open it up, open the floodgates, charge all the monies. Like I said, $200 from every PlayStation 5 player in the next 6 years, just for the Gears of War IP alone, while we get everything in Game Pass. You know, it's going to be a crazy time, man. So yeah, 3 months, Gears of War Reloaded, and here we go.
Yeah, no, good stuff. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. I just want to catch up on Super Chats. Pragmatic Eagle, generous friend of the channel, says, drops a very generous $5 Super Chat, says, if these devs, publishers want my money, they got to put their games where I'm at. The days of chasing exclusives is gone for me. Hashtag gaming's for everyone. You wanted to add something, Crispy?
I'm not adding anything.
Oh, okay. I just when I heard you, but then again, that's just me. Sinjo86 drops a very generous $2 Super Chat and says, oh, great. More target practice. Talking about PlayStation players. Do you K Now the Broke Boy Insider drops an additional $2 Super Chat and says, opinion. Will PlayStation gamers prefer Marathon or Gears? Marathon is DOA, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry to tell you, that game is not going to stand a chance when you have so many of these extraction shooters. What was the one that just came out?
Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders is getting a lot of buzz, dude.
The one game as a Gears of War fan I was looking forward to was The Last of Us Online, and that got cancelled. That is the only other thing that PlayStation ever shown that I was like, as a Gears of War like gamer, especially obviously us waiting for the future of Gears of War to get here. Luckily, it's here now. But that was the one thing that they announced, and I thought, okay, Last of Us, you know, I've never played it, but I've seen gameplay. I know it had a bit of multiplayer in there. It's a third-person. That was the one thing that I was like, oh my God, like this could potentially be another game in the similar, like, you know, similar sort of category, like genre of Gears of War. Yeah. And it's like, wow, like PlayStation might actually get something.
And of course, PlayStation ruined it.
And they cancelled it, but it's all good. Your Xbox come in and save the day. We give you Gears of War anyway, bro. You don't need no Last of Us Online. No, you just take Gears of War instead, man. And
there you go. Hey. The last super chat of the day comes away with Lieutenant Hulk. So salute to you, kind sir. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, dropping a very generous $2 super chat. He says, I hope they have Xbox intro into Gears when it starts. We'll see. It's going to be interesting.
At that point, it would be them actively taking it out, and that would be wild. I don't know if PlayStation.
I don't think they're going to. Yeah, that's a good point.
Doesn't like the baseball game say PlayStation in the front?
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does. Okay, it has PlayStation Studios. It absolutely does.
If it's not.
Is it for Forza Horizon 5?
Yeah, Forza. They took it out. Forza Horizon 5. Yeah, they did. It doesn't even say Playground Games. It says It says the actual team that made the game, which is super weird.
Because it's a port.
It's a port, yeah. So it doesn't say Playground Games or Xbox Game Studios. It has the studio that made the game, which is.
Would it show the Coalition in Reloaded then, or is it going to be?
That might change after.
That I think it has to change. We will see.
Going to be super interactive and disbelief, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. Usually this is about an hour program, but we had to bring in Crispy, we had to bring in Shadows, and we had to talk about Gears of War because, well, it's really big news. And I love the fact that we had a serious lesson. I kind of sat there as even at the host. I was like, yeah, that's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of Gears information I did not know. Thank you guys.
There's so much to explore, man.
I bet there is.
It's a rabbit hole. It's a rabbit hole. Like I said, I could, I'd get everybody in trouble and, You know, we got to do like sleepover time because we're still talking about Gears, man.
That'd be amazing. But C Money, let's do the outros. Obviously, On Point for Gamers. It is a channel. It's an amazing YouTube channel. It saw rocket growth last year during PAX East, which I was actually surprised that you're not going to this year.
Because PAX East decided that they think that
they thought Mother's Day was a good
have
month.
have no wives that deserve their time. That's not related to go talking about games. Like, I don't understand. Like, but it's how do you not see Mother's Day and be like, maybe not? You know what I'm saying?
Maybe we shouldn't do it on Mother's Day. Yeah, that's
no, man. I'm not
a good point. But listen, we still got to sell the brand. You obviously have a lot of shows that you do weekly. Let's talk about it, brother. Where could people continue to help the channel grow? Where could people check out you and the missus on a daily basis when you guys do your content? And more importantly, where can they follow you guys on social media?
Yeah, man. Well, first of all, shout out to you, Boom. Thank you for having me, man. You know, I love doing the show. It was awesome being here, getting this deep dive into Gears and getting to learn more. Like, listen, I love me Gears. You know, I play the stories. It's a fun time. As soon as I start playing multiplayer, I have a great time in the beginning, slapping people up, embarrassing them. Like, man, I'm so good. And then the good people decide to show up and ruin it for everybody. And I'm like, okay, well, that's my that's my time. Thanks, folks. But yeah, no, it was awesome talking about that. So thanks for coming. Obviously, catch me here on 12 o'clock Eastern on Thursdays for Xbox Live. Our channel is On Point for Gamers. I did put the link in the chat. Yeah, man, we finally crossed 24.9, so we're on our last 100 to 25, which is dope. So if you haven't come check us out, come do so. We are a Xbox focused channel, but we are like actual Xbox fans. They're not crybabies. We're not sitting there dooming and glooming about anything, unless there was something real that we deem, not what the internets would deem as something crazy. We're not for that. Oh snap! Look at that, Boom, got play of the game. So definitely come check us out, man. We do a bunch of shows. Tonight at 8 p.m. we will be live. It'll be we have a lot to talk about. Gears is definitely going to be one of the topics, but we have a lot of other news that dropped that we're going to be hitting. So definitely come check that out. We'll be live again tomorrow with Hargeet and Demo. Both times 8 p.m. Eastern. Actually, it's 8 p.m. Eastern every time that we go live. So yeah, come check us out. And come have some fun, man. Gaming is great right now, more than ever, bro. So, and especially if you're an Xbox fan who can actually partake in most of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, there's a lot to get excited about. Honestly, I'm not going to get into it because we got to get out of here. But if you're mad, I hear you. I'm not going to argue with you or call you names. But I got to be honest, it's very difficult to be sour right now if you are a gamer. Like, there is just too much. But Crispy Bomb, let's sell your brand, brother. Where can people find you on the socials to get that crispy truth, potentially hear some Gears of War conversation, and what else you got going on, brother?
Well, I mean, I am welcome to anybody calling me a Gears stan. It has gotten me through a lot of my life. It's one of the greatest games I've ever played, and that goes through multiple different, Gears 2, Gears 3, and then Gears 1 after. So you have to realize that me and Shadows are on the same page. You want Gears to live. I'm on X, Crispy Bomb 28, Xbox Live, and Sunday I will be Gamers Console, and I will be there, and I'm sure this question will be brought up again, and I will have the hill I can stand on because Shadows absolutely destroys it all. No, I'm just kidding. Love you, brother, but yeah, no, it's one of those things. Like, dude, like, you want to call me a fanboy or whatever. Yeah, I'm a fanboy of Gears. Okay.
Nothing wrong with that, dude.
I love
yeah.
Gears. That's it. It's made me an Xbox gamer. I love Game Pass now and everything else, but everything that started out me picking up an Xbox controller is because of Gears of War 2, not 1. So I'm looking forward to that because I think it needs a full-on remaster, and I will stand on that hill as well.
Well, good. I hope we get it because Gears 2 and 3 are pinnacle parts of the trilogy that need to be told and be brought into modern consoles. I hope that they in fact do that. But Shadows, brother, let's sell the brand and get people to funnel to check out some of the best Gears of War stories you could possibly have. Folks, he's closing in on 100,000 subscribers. He's at 96 and change. Brother, that is amazing.
I mean, it's going to happen for sure over the next 2 years.
Crazy,
no doubt about it with Gears and everything. I mean, he's Mr. Gears. Brother, sell the brand. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel? But more importantly, follow you on the socials.
Yeah, so my name is Lee. I love Gears of War. You can find me at this name everywhere. YouTube channel. I live stream Gears of War daily on Twitch, on Kick.
Unbelievable.
I currently have been live every day this year. We are on a 128 streak in a row.
Wow.
5 months of non-stop Gears 5 daily streams over on Twitch and also Kick multi-stream. I just got a Kick partner as well. So, just trying to basically just get, Gears of War everywhere. But yeah, you can find me on YouTube, Twitch, Kick, same on Twitter. Obviously Gears of War Reloaded has been announced, so you can definitely expect. I've already got 2 videos up. A live, reaction, breakdown of obviously the information, and then an edited sort of shorter video of all the important information, and obviously looking at the PS5 Pro stuff. You know that obviously Gears of War Reloaded is PS5 Pro enhanced as well with some of the extra features on there. But you can obviously expect non-stop basically Gears of War content if you want it. Story news and information, multiplayer versus gameplay, tips and tricks, tutorial guide videos, everything you need regarding Gears of War, you name it. I got it on YouTube, man. Yeah, I need 3,600 subscribers for the big 100,000, bro, and the YouTube silver plaques. But it couldn't fit somewhere behind me. That's always been the goal since the start of YouTube, man. 100,000 subscribers for Gears of War. When I got told it was never possible, and here we are, 3,000 away, and it's probably going to happen either maybe for the Xbox showcase, if what I said earlier happens with Gears of War Reloaded, maybe multiplayer beta, and obviously the release in August, and it's going to go crazy. So that's basically check out SCS Shadows on YouTube, Twitch, Kick for all the Gears of War live streaming and video content needs. That's pretty much it.
Nice, good stuff. Listen, and speaking of goals, folks, I got to throw it out there. We are 87 subscribers away from 16K.
Hey,
and you can help us get there. So
subscribe right now. Subscribe.
Thank you, kind sir. That's right. You hear these gentlemen. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to drop a quick link in there. Again, I probably should be doing this at the beginning of every show, and I always wait to the end.
It, bro.
Yeah, I do have to pin it. You know what? It's fine. It's me failing as a host. It's okay. Listen, I'm gonna drop it in there, folks. Obviously, everyone's channel is gonna be in the show notes as it always is. So if you want to subscribe to them, it's simply just click copy and paste, click go. But I just dropped the link in there. And again, folks, maybe it's not a big deal for you, but we've been doing YouTube for now. This will be the 8th year in November 3rd. We are closing on 8 million views in 8 years. And considering the size of the channel, that is pretty ridiculous. But, we do live stream 5 days a week. We do the breaking news like we had yesterday, of course, with the FTC losing again. And we just love being here with you guys and gals, and we appreciate the support. And, of course, a big thank you to everyone that tuned in today. Everyone that was generous enough not only to become a channel member, but to gift the channel memberships and, of course, drop a super chat. And those do really help us in the long run, especially when it comes to maintaining the channel through its programs, through its equipment. And, of course, I'm going to close out today's show, folks, with something that's incredibly important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of X Vlog Live.